talk about, because Jake and I, right before recording happened, we were talking about vegan foods. Well, Jake was really talking about vegan foods in a disgusted way.
Because they're gross.
Yeah, and it totally reminded me. I recently, just like earlier this month, I tried vegan cheese, which is made from, it's made from almonds. So it's like almonds, I guess, crushed and made into, like, it's not unusual. They'll take
almond
nuts.
milk.
Not almond milk. I guess to a variation of almond milk. But yeah, it's like they'll take, there are ways to make vegan cheeses out of various nuts. So there's like a cashew cheddar, and there's like an almond mozzarella, and it's very strange. Like, I tried it. When it's cold, it tastes like nothing. At least for me it did. So I would eat it and digest it, and there was no flavor hitting my palate at all. And I'm just like,
this is strange.
It tasted like nothing. Like tofu, from what I've heard, tofu tastes like nothing. Everyone tells me that, but I've tried it, and then it's like, to me, I actually have, like, I taste a little bit of a flavor that's unique. But with almond cheese, nothing. It's so weird.
Just bland.
It's totally bland, but then it's like you melt it, then there's the flavor.
What?
It melts and it shreds just like cheese. So you can take it to a cheese grater, you can cut it, you can like mix it in with pasta and melt it, and it's totally has that flavor there. It's very strange. I don't get how vegans do it at all, because I was just moderately curious, like how vegans get protein, or what do they do for food in general.
I mean, a lot of times I know they eat like beans and rice to get like the substitute for the meat protein, like
survival intestines.
Yeah.
Right, and working at I work at a breakfast cafe. It's a lot of the foods there are egg based, dairy based, bacon links,
breakfast foods.
Yeah. So when I have some vegan friends who will ask me, it's like, well, what can I eat there? And it's like, I don't know.
We have
oats.
bread.
We have delicious
we
water.
have bread that might not have egg in it, so that's the thing too.
We got some toast.
Yeah, toast.
Without butter, I guess.
Yeah, right. With no butter, and then but vegan butter is not too bad.
Yeah.
But I don't know how different it is from margarine.
I'm not sure I've ever had vegan anything.
Yeah, it's interesting.
At all in my life.
It's an interesting thing. I don't really know what else to make of it, but I've tried various like weird foods. I go to Mama Jean's and I'm like, well, I'm intrigued by that. I'm going to buy it and then eat it and see what happens.
I went to Mama Jean's one time, because I was looking for something for one of my friends. They were like looking forward to nowhere had it, and it was like a bulk, like, you can get like bulk ingredients.
Yeah,
it was like something like that. I walked in there and the woman behind the counter was like wearing a really like flowy, flowery dress, and she had, I'm not shitting you, she had like a headband made of flowers.
Yep.
And she's like, "Welcome to Mama Jean's. How can I help you?" And I was like, "Do you have this?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, let me show you." She took 5 minutes to walk me around the store, just chit-chat and be like, "Oh, we also have this. Does that sound interesting for you?" And I was like, No. And she's like, "Oh, well, there's no animal products in it. It's all vegan." I'm like, "I love animals to eat." Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, okay."
I love animals. I also love how they taste.
Yeah.
I can't.
I commend some people who can do it, but at the same time, it's like you have to be so strict with your diet because you have to read every single label, which, I mean, I'm not saying that's not a bad idea. You should probably do that anyway, but at the same time...
I don't
either.
Ignorance is bliss.
That's basically how I approach food, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what magnesiocarbide is, but you know what? I like how it tastes.
It's got a good zing.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, you don't know it until, I guess, you're, a vegan, that you're like, well, this has egg in it, and I didn't know it, or this has milk in it, I didn't know it, and you have to, like, be like, oh, no, you can't have this, or even with the one item I suggested at Gailey's, my work, I was like, you can get a breakfast burrito, and just not have egg, and either put in hash browns or put in all the veggies or whatever.
Tortilla has milk in it or something?
Well, no, but someone said, the tortilla might have egg in it. And I'm like, oh. And then I checked it and it didn't. But I was like, still, that's not something I considered because I don't care.
Fucking,
the tortilla. Yummy.
Delicious. Sometimes I eat them almost by themselves.
Yeah.
Eggs?
No, well, eggs.
Tortillas.
I like tortillas.
I like a good tortilla.
Yeah, tortillas are good. I also like to take them and like cut them up and just fry them and make them chips.
Yeah,
that's pretty delicious.
It is. So good. They are good. Well, and they're cheaper than chips, which is kind of stupid when you think about it. Like, you can buy a thing of tortillas for like $2.
Yeah.
And a huge thing of tortillas. You could make like 100 chips, if not more, and then go to get a bag of Lay's chips, and it's like $4.
Yeah.
And you're like, that makes
Well,
sense.
it's paying.
The bag's
for
like 90% air.
Yeah, it's paying for the convenience of not having to make the chips.
So, right. That's true. Yeah, you pay a lot more for convenience. Mm-hmm. That is a good point. Yeah.
That's the problem I run into every time I go grocery shopping because
Yeah.
literally I walk in and I'm like, all right, I know what I want to eat. Mm-hmm. And I know how much effort I want to put into what I want to eat.
Yes.
Unfortunately, one of these is far greater than the other.
So I'm going to buy everything pre-cooked and frozen.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand it because like sometimes I don't even want to cook. Like I just my microwave is like my best friend.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this thing that my mom bought me that I don't use all the time, but when I do, I love the hell out of it. It's a turbo oven. And it's basically this like gigantic.
Is it actually called a turbo oven?
It is actually called a turbo oven.
Oh my god, that's amazing!
It's really cool. It actually uses heat lamps and a fan, and it will cook things really really fast. So you can take like a frozen piece of chicken, put it in the turbo oven, and it can be cooked in like 30 minutes. Like I've tested that; it actually does. That actually can happen, and doesn't make me sick. So it's not like raw at all.
Well,
I know.
Totally didn't get food poisoning.
Hooray!
Achievement there.
Is it like dry? Or is it
No,
just
it's-
so it's like you stuck it in an oven essentially?
Basically, it's an oven, but
But it's
tiny.
It's a tiny oven that uses a fan. I guess whereas the oven
Well,
doesn't
that's
use the
convection.
fan. Yeah,
Like
convection,
even
yeah.
most ovens have some type of mechanism, be it a fan or otherwise, that lets the air circulate. Because otherwise, if you're not circulating the air, then parts of it can get cold and then it won't cook evenly. So convection oven, usually what they do is it hovers within like 20 degrees of what you're trying to do, so that the whole thing gets over hot and then under hot, over hot and under hot.
Oh.
Captain Science over here.
That's literally what
no
convection means. So I mean,
Now we know.
We didn't all pass 7th grade science, Jake. Don't talk down to me.
Education. No child left behind.
College graduate in 3 weeks, right here, everybody.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
pass the exit exam.
Yeah.
Do you know if you can fail exit exams?
That is a good question.
Because I don't, and Andrew doesn't either.
I took mine, and I was assured that it would not make any difference, but it might differ from program to program. Like,
okay.
I don't know.
I
Like maybe
feel
doctors have to pass their exit
I
exams.
should hope so.
I would, right? Yeah, I would think so too.
At worst, I'm like a television producer. They don't give a shit how
Yeah,
well I
like,
did.
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would depend, but at the same time, maybe it would also depend on how much effort you put into it. If it's really obvious that you studied and you're very, like you tried really hard, and maybe you just barely failed, maybe they'd be like, what the hell, we're gonna say he passed anyway. Yeah. Versus someone who was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do C's all the way down, down the middle.
Make a pretty picture out of the multiple choice thing.
Right. Then they might go, you know what? Maybe they didn't take this too seriously. They're not gonna get their diploma. I could be wrong though. I don't know how academics work. But
I always worry that my teachers judge me because I test quickly.
Yeah.
Like, whether I do well or poorly on a test, no matter what, I'm always finished pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I always worry that they're, like, judging me, like, for being done so quickly.
No.
probably not.
It's one of those just irrational concerns I have about humanity at large. It's like whenever I go into, like, a store and just kind of peruse and don't buy anything, I feel like the people behind the counter are, like, judging me and be like, why is this fucking guy buying anything?
He's gonna stop.
What's wrong with this guy?
Stare you down.
And I know that's, like, not true, but, like, it's just this weird, like, idea that's planted in my head.
No, man.
You never know. Maybe they are thinking it.
Yeah.
I'm the same way with being the first person to bring the test up to the teacher.
Yeah, I never
can't do it.
want to be the first person.
No. I always wait till someone gets up,
Yeah.
and as soon as they get up,
Yeah, you're
even
like
if I've
right
been done
behind
for
them.
like
You know
10
you're not
minutes.
alone too, because that's an observed phenomenon.
Oh, yeah.
I've,
It is,
Like
yeah.
I've definitely noticed that like first person hands in their test like 4 more immediately after.
Exactly.
So either we're all taking the test at the same pace, or some of you fuckers were just waiting for someone else to stand up
Yeah,
and do
I
it.
didn't want to be the first. Yeah.
You can't call them out on it because I can't because I was doing the same
That's
thing.
what I do. I'm just,
Yeah. Right.
I'm just like you're not all so perfect either.
Yeah. I actually have a friend who he's taking. I don't know if it's an exit exam per se, but he's like a health science. I don't know his official major, but I know it's like dietetics or whatever, like healthy shit. Basically,
Yeah.
I guess it's the official major at MSU.
Is it Alan?
Yeah, it is Alan. Yeah.
I thought he was going for nursing.
No. I don't. At least I don't think he is. I think it's but he has this big test that I think, and I could be wrong, and I'm sure he'll probably correct me if he hears this. But
Angry comment on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's fucking this test guide.
Well, the test...
Comments are comments, man.
That's true. Good point. No, I think that the test cost about $200.
Damn.
To take. Yeah. And if you...
Mine was free.
if you don't pass it, and you have to retake it, it's another $50. It's an additional $50. So it was like... I don't know, to me, it's like... How many people passed the first time? Like, I'm curious. Like,
how much money are you sinking into this?
Yeah, like $200 is a lot of money, and an additional $50. I don't know. It's sort of just like
it should be the other way around. To really encourage people to do well the first time. $50 up front. If you have to take it again, $200.
Yeah, boom.
Well, I mean,
whoa! I'm going to study for that one.
Yeah, there you go.
Escalates quickly.
Right. It's a lot of money. I don't know. To me, I don't know. I just kind of feel like even if you did well, like you knew you did well, how many would they actually still go? Yeah, you did pass it, or would they go?
Take it again.
Nope, you got to retake it. Oh no!
They look at it and they're like, oh no! Rip! It's all torn up. You have to take it again.
Yeah.
My rent's due tomorrow. Oh, this test is really bad. You're gonna have to.
Just, My rent's due tomorrow. Yeah, I think that's funny. So things happened earlier this month because, of course, this is like the first episode I've recorded. I think this month.
In a little bit.
In a little bit, yeah. The improv group I'm in, Moon City Improv, had their debut show on April 4th. Yeah, April 4th.
At Classic Rock Coffee, correct?
At Classic Rock Coffee, yes. And the shows went really well. I missed the first show because I was at my group, Betty and the Baldwin. Or, no, I was at a different group for some reason. I don't know what I was doing. I don't remember. But I was not able to go for the first show.
Were you drinking in a back alley?
No.
That's what I would be doing.
Okay.
Avoiding responsibility.
I think what happened was I was in my other group, Betty and the Baldwin, which technically by that weird standard, because must not have been April 4th then. It must have been a different... It was April 11th. I don't know why I'm thinking April 4th. I'm very good at my calendar and my math.
Dates.
Those are things.
Who needs them?
Yeah, and so I had another group that I was in, and I had to immediately rush over to Classic Rock to catch the 9:30 show, and it went really well. And then the second week of shows went well too, and they just had their third round of shows this past weekend. A new show was debuted called Edward 40 Hands.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Classic gentleman's game.
Exquisite.
Yes.
Played typically with the champagne of beers.
The gentleman's game of drinking combat.
Yes. So, yeah, they, for those of you who don't know, because of course Jake and Andrew do, for those of you who don't know what Edward 40 Hands is, it was 4 gentlemen, 4 improvisers in this case, who had 40s of the champagne of beers that you were saying.
Miller High Life,
duct taped to their hands, and they would proceed to do an improv scene, and they could not finish the scene unless all of them finished their beers.
Oh, God.
Jesus.
That's two 40s per person.
That's
Yes.
80
ounces of beer.
Yes.
Shitty beer.
Yeah.
But still, that's a lot of liquid to consume in a
And I guarantee you the cost of that whole thing was less than $10.
Oh, I believe it.
Because those
I
40s
believe
are
it.
like $1.
Yeah. And sadly, I could not go to that and witness it because I was babysitting George Hoffman, who is the founder of the Moon City Improv. He asked me to babysit his son, so his 1-year-old.
You're babysitting
Yeah.
him.
And I was like, wait, he's the founder and he didn't go to his own show?
He was getting slizzard. No, I'm kidding.
Nice.
Actually, he did come back slightly inebriated because he was one of the players in Edward 40 Hands. So, of course,
And 80 ounces of beer.
Yeah, 80 ounces of beer, exactly. So I got to babysit his son, which was an interesting experience in its own way.
Guess what your dad's doing?
Yeah. it was funny.
Whose daddy's getting drunk on stage? Is it yours?
Yeah, it was funny though because his son is a year old. His name's Charlie, and Charlie cried the whole entire time. If he wasn't sleeping, he was pretty much crying. And at one point, there was I take it back. There was one moment where he wasn't crying and he was actually in a good mood.
For 5 seconds.
For 5 seconds, yeah. And I had just changed his diaper because he's about a year old and he's still wearing diapers. And I just changed his diaper because it was wet. And then he goes, uh-oh. And then I smell that whiff of poo. And I'm just I go, oh, Charlie, did you poop? And he's like, that's all he did. And I was like...
He just giggled.
He just giggled. And then when I told Charlie's mom, George's wife, I said this. And she's like, he's got his dad's humor. Which I was like, yep, sure does.
That's why me and babies get along. Not me and I can handle them from newborn right up until they can form like logical, complete sentences.
Once the brain starts working, that's when I turn it on.
Like that's when I can't, and then I can go back in once they kind of learn like respect and like niceties.
Okay,
so like pre-teenage.
I can't until they're at least in high school.
Right.
I cannot be bothered.
No, for me,
they need to start acting like an adult. If they're anything like a child, I want nothing to do with them.
No, I love little kiddos, and like pretty much up until about 10. I don't, if they're 9, they're fine. If they're, 9.5, they're fine. But once they hit 10, I'm like, I hate you.
Something about it.
There's something about 10, and then that like 10 to 14 age, it's like preteen and a little bit of middle school. I don't like them at all.
Yeah.
Because when I used to work at the library,
that's when they start turning into jerks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, when I worked at the library, that was a good example. They were little brats. Like I finally understood. Like when I was like that age, and adults would have this like resentment towards me for no reason. I was
You'd
like,
walk into the room and they just glare at you.
glare at you, and I'm like, what did I do? And now I know why. Because it's like. They suck.
Because you're terrible.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why.
No, I remember being when I worked at the library, Kirkwood Public Library, in case anyone's curious.
That's where the teens hang out.
Right. They did. We had a pretty decent teen room where they had like a nice like Xbox and a PlayStation. Like they had really nice stuff. Like
it's a sick ass library.
I know it was.
No library ever
they had like just
Xbox.
Renovated it and added all of this nice stuff. I remember like there was this one. They had the teen director who was the guy in charge, but he never he wasn't there like during the times when some kids were. Yeah,
That's weird.
It was really weird. And so there was this one time where I'm checking in books because I was a shelver, and I hear these two kids I hear these kids fighting, and I hear a thunk on the wall in the other room, and I go in and there's a girl on the floor, and these other two girls were like standing over her, and I'm like, what's going on here? And they're like, well, she hit us first, and I'm like, but she's the one on the floor, guys.
Yeah, come on.
What's going on? And
what the hell?
And what I loved about it was there was always this one librarian who, no matter how old the kid was, if she could identify that they were a kid, she just snapped into this, because she used to be a children's librarian. But she kind of, I guess, rose in the ranks and became management, and so... And the wonderful library science.
Library.
Yeah, right. So when she sees these kids, she's like, now kids, you can't fight. Like she immediately gets this like super patronizing voice and then just asks them to leave. To which the other two kids chase the girl who got knocked to the floor out to the parking lot. And
then beat her up again.
Yeah. I had to chase after them and chase them away. And I'm like watching this poor kid.
Jesus.
I know. It was like, kids suck sometimes. Yeah.
All the time.
They're the goddamn worst.
I will tell you one thing. The one time in my life when I like kids is when I'm working.
Yeah.
Because the pizza guy is second only to God in their eyes.
I am as if unto a deity to these children.
Anytime I see a kid when I'm on the job, they're like on their best behavior. Because I'm the greatest person in the world and I've just showed up at their door. And they don't want to like make me mad or something.
Yeah, like he'll take the pizza away.
It's like if Santa Claus showed up,
yeah.
they're gonna be nice to Santa.
I like that.
Because if they're mean to me, I'll leave with the pizza. That's how it works.
It'd be really funny if like a kid like were to smart mouth and you were just like, okay,
taking this back.
All right,
well,
you don't get this, kiddo.
You let your parents know what you did. Why they're not getting any of this.
Yeah. Thanks for the pizza, champ. Just leave.
You've already taken the money from the parents, and the parents are like, what the hell, man? Come back with that pizza.
Nope, this meat lovers is mine.
The best, they call like your
Shouldn't
manager.
have had a kid that was a jerk.
They call your manager to complain, and you get back and it's like, dude, why didn't you give them the pizza? And you're like, well, the child was bad. And they're like, I completely understand.
Yes.
Sorry, man, my driver tells me that your kid was being a little asshole.
So and the parents like,
but the best part about that is if they were to complain, it would just go to the Pizza Hut call center. Like, you guys anyway.
That's one of the things I also love most about my job.
Yeah.
Complaints don't even get directed to my store; they're just going somewhere else.
I remember. Oh, that was not fun times working at the call center.
You get the shitty half of that.
Yeah, but I always liked it when there were people like you could always gauge how people like. Who had tragedy in their lives and who didn't, and the ones
and why they were pissy,
right? And the ones who did have tragedy in their lives were like really nice when they would complain and just be like, hey, I'm sorry to complain, but this pizza has onions on it, and I'm allergic. I'll
it's
die.
Kind of a problem.
It's kind of a problem.
Normal people like me and you, this is how we complain.
Right, super apologetic. And then there'd be people who have never experienced tragedy in their lives ever, and they're like, there are not enough pepperonis on this pizza!
And the world's fucking ending because they're
like, how am I supposed to feed my kids? And it's just okay.
Your kids can have not pepperoni.
You can just take all your pepperonis on your side and add them to your kids' side.
I wonder if anybody ever gets calls that are people complaining with the how am I supposed to feed my kids thing, and they're like,
that happened to me once.
You can just feed them that pizza, and they're like, they don't like pepperoni, because at that point, that's when I am totally comfortable getting fired from my job for saying, if you can't tell your kids to eat food regardless of what's on it, I'm taking them away. Because they're going to starve.
Right. No, that did actually happen to me once, where it was they claimed the pizza was cold, they claimed it had taken 2 hours, which I don't think was false, but I guess no one had told them it was going to take 2 hours.
Yeah.
In some areas in Virginia, I don't know what it was, because the Pizza Hut call center that I had worked at for a small minute of my life, which I don't want to ever think about ever again, it was all of the west side of the states.
Yeah.
So we'd get people
West
from
Virginia.
West Virginia, we'd get Delaware, we would even get
Do you mean the east states?
Well, no, I mean pretty much it was here was Missouri and anything Missouri and beyond any states. So we would get South Dakota, Minnesota, Arkansas.
Okay, so not Virginia. So okay, yeah.
Well, no, Virginia was included in that.
It
was
East Coast.
East
So
Coast.
it doesn't
Did I
make
say
sense.
West Coast?
Pizza
I'm
Hut.
sorry. Did I say East Coast or did I say East?
You said East. That's why I was confused.
Okay,
But Dakota's West, the Dakotas.
you're right. That doesn't make sense.
Carolinas are East.
Yeah, no, it should be East.
I've been there.
You're right. That makes
It was
no
probably
sense.
just a smattering then.
Right. I mean, but they claimed that we never got anything further, I guess, in the Dakotas, But it was that's strange.
dumb.
I hadn't thought about that ever. So, but yeah,
They lied.
yeah. Well, in Virginia, I don't know what it was about Virginia. There were several locations, but they must not have had enough people working there ever. So, if times got busy, it wasn't unusual for their delivery time to be 2 hours.
Damn.
It was ridiculous. And people were used to it. I would be like, oh, hi there, Mrs. Smith, and then I would, type it in, and I'd say, okay, it looks like delivery time is 3 hours, and she's like, that's okay, I'll wait for it.
That's totally good. That's actually down an hour, so
They've been really good lately.
they must have hired someone else.
Right? Yeah, it was bizarre.
Did you ever get anyone who would call and they would seemingly be having a conversation with themselves? For example, if you'd been having a known problem, like if a Pizza Hut location was particularly behind or something like that, they might call in and be like, explain their problem. They were like, have you been getting a lot of calls about this? And usually you're not, at the very least at Teletech, you're not supposed to be like, yeah, we've been getting a lot of calls about it. It's whatever. You're supposed to be like, well, we are working to fix it, stuff like that, to just kind of get away from the fact that it's happening.
Yeah.
And whenever you say that, they're like, so you have been getting a lot of calls about that. Okay. And then they just stampede on over you, continue what they're saying.
Yeah.
I hate that.
I do too. Well, I mean, that would happen a few times. There, Fort Leonard would. I don't know what would happen with that place, but they never seem to have enough breadsticks. So if someone ordered cheese sticks or cinnamon sticks or just breadsticks, they would be out.
It's all made of the same thing.
Right.
Oh,
it is.
it? Okay.
It is. It's all made of the same thing. The only difference is that one has
The topping,
the topping, literally the topping, and that's it.
Yeah.
So they would be out of sticks, and so when people would call and and I guess would hang up because they because you can't get sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they would call repeatedly, and there'd be an influx of calls from the Fort Leonard Wood area, or in some cases, there'd be one particular location that was closed due to a fire. So, whenever people would call, nothing. Usually, it was never anything small. It would just say oven burnt or something, or ovens out or whatever. But there'd be people there'd be an influx of calls from that area, and we would have to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, they're closed due to a fire," and they'd be like, "Oh,
oh, jeez, no one's hurt, are they?"
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't I hear about it on the news?
Right. And I would say, I don't know, but I hope they are, too. Yeah.
Can we address Andrew's mustache?
Yes.
It's really getting there, isn't it?
It's getting to be evil, conspirator.
Yeah.
I can kind of twirl it a little bit.
This weekend is the bearded mustache competition.
It is.
I don't think I can compete.
You should go and
try.
I think you have something with the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
Yes. there is a natural section, like
there is
natural beard, natural mustache.
Yeah, I just decided I wasn't going to shave it for a little bit and just see what happened.
This is what happened.
And just your lip and chin has grown hair.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean I shave like this.
Okay.
I have to at least stay moderately groomed for work.
Gotcha.
I can't have like a full beard.
You can apparently grow twirlies on the end.
if I just have like a neatly I don't know.
A neatly trimmed supervillain beard.
Do you have to wear like a cover over your chin?
No,
that's nice.
I'm fine. That'd be
when
weird. I have to wear like a little Hannibal Lecter thing, you know?
Yeah.
No, the best part is when I worked at...
That'll be 1935.
When I worked at Price Cutter, there was a gentleman there. His name was Pat, and he was like 58 years old, like had the body of an 80-year-old, just waddle around because he was so large, and he had a huge bushy beard, like a Ron Swanson beard.
Nice.
And obviously, I worked in a deli, so you can't have like a lot of exposed facial hair, if any at all.
Right.
So for the longest time, he just, I guess, rebelled and did not wear his like. there's like a cover you could get for it, and I'd never seen them up to this point. And one day, the store manager came around and just fucking laid into him about it, and was like, "Listen, you're doing this or you're getting fired." Ooh. And he's like, "Okay." And so the next day, he comes in, and it's literally like it's a surgical mask, except so it goes around like your ears, except it doesn't cover your mouth. It's just a tiny little hairnet that goes over the hair on your mustache.
I've seen that.
And it was the most adorable thing I've ever seen on a grown man.
I need one of those.
just for
just
normal
wear them
use.
for fun. Yeah. You should grow it out and then make like the Fu Manchu or a handlebar or something.
Oh my god, yes.
A handlebar, I think, is the way to go.
I don't know how I feel about the point on your chin, though. Because you've got one right now. Because I do that, too. Like, I twirl right here. Oh. See? He's got, like, he's swirled it to a point.
Yeah.
It's my stroking.
You know what? He can. I mean,
yeah, I'm not going to tell him what to do.
What's the whole point of
having a beard? How are you telling me what to do with my face?
What's the point of having a beard if you can't, like, mess with it and do whatever you want?
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I like how I can scratch now because I literally scratch my chin like this, like the whole chin. But it feels weird if I do that without any facial hair, and it kind of hurts.
Yeah, you're probably the hair is buffering the nails.
Even though the hair is causing the itch in the first place.
It's cyclical, vicious cycle.
It's horrible. It's a monster.
That's why I don't really like the whole beard action. I get itchy really, really soon. Like if I don't shave for like 4 or 5 days, that's when the itch starts setting in. I'm just like,
I've had the benefit of being past the itchy stage for a while.
Yeah.
Because even when Sonia trims it, because she's the only one that gives a shit if it gets like right now, it's probably too long because it's starting to be like poofed out. She'll like trim it, and even when she trims it, she doesn't trim it so low that it like goes back to the itchy stage. It's just nice and long, and I can still stroke it in thought.
That's good. That's the dream.
It is.
It is, yeah.
I'm also cursed with lighter hair, so like it grows out for a while and it still doesn't really look like anything, you know? Yeah.
That's fair.
It's tragedy.
Sorry. There is a gentleman by the name, his stage name is Cell Dweller. Notable because he did the music for Tomb Raider 2.
Makes like electronic rock music, basically.
Dope. And he covered a Bee Gees song called Tragedy. And he took it from
awesome.
It is. He took it from the Bee Gees version, which sounds very much like a Bee Gees song.
Yeah.
And he turned it in like this dope electro rock song. And it's easily one of my top 3 favorite covers of all time.
Nice.
Really good.
But it gets stuck in your head, and every time you hear the word tragedy, the chorus is tragedy, just like a Pavlovian response.
That song's been out for like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, it's old.
It's just like ever since that though, tragedy is associated with.
It's like it was my fucking alarm for the longest time.
Nice.
Wake up to that every morning, super pumped.
Nice. You never got sick of it for being your alarm?
Shockingly, I've never gotten tired of that song.
Really? Okay.
I've been tired of many alarms that I've had. Yeah. That's why I constantly change them.
Right, I do too.
But that song I never got tired of. I just changed it because the Power Rangers theme song got on my phone, and I had to change it, obviously.
Yeah, see, I can never put like a real song as my alarm because I'll only learn to hate it. I always have to just use like the bass ringtones or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. Like originally I used to do that with like songs, and then finally I was like, nope, I hate the song.
I did have a decent...
hear it and I go, no, shut it off.
I did have a decent system for a while where I had a program on my Mac that just woke me up with a random song every day. That was cool. I never get sick of any of them, obviously.
Right.
So
I couldn't do that because I have too many songs on my computer that are like slow, soft songs. So my luck, one of those would come up, and I just keep sleeping right through it.
Yeah, but see, I'm a light enough sleeper that once I've slept 6 or 7 hours or so, then just about any sort of noise really wakes me up. So, like, if a song starts playing out of quietness, that'll do it right there. Or, like, a lot of times they'll start mowing the fucking courtyard out here. And I'll be like, oh, I'm awake!
Morning.
Thanks! Can't do that at 2 in the afternoon. No, that would be a lot to ask.
Yeah. Speaking of noises, it's funny. Like, you know, I've lived in my own apartment now for a little over a month. My new apartment, and woo.
And walls test. Is that where this is going?
Yes, it is. It is actually, but not the way you'd think.
Okay.
So of course, back when I lived in a house, like 7, 8 months ago, I lived in a band house where it was constant, like 3 a.m. I would hear this thump bass or whatever drum kit. Someone making noise at some ungodly hour, and I would passive aggressively tweet about it, and then they would shut up. That's what I would do. I did that, and it was like I remember being like, I have to fucking sleep. This needs to stop, and then suddenly I was like, oh, it's quiet.
Oh man,
look at that.
Yeah. But no, it's funny. For like this first month, it's been fine because it's so quiet in my apartment now. I have to get used to that. But now, my neighbor has this dog that when she's not home, the dog goes into this very frantic separation anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not like he's barking. It's just this yip that he does. This very stressed, you know. And I'm not even so much that like I distress my sleep. I'm just like, I find myself getting stressed because I'm like, what is he doing? Because I remember when I was a kid, my mom we babysat a dog. It was like the dog of my mom's friend or something, and he had separation anxiety, and he would like wreck himself.
Yeah,
because my mom didn't have a crate, and I think she put him in the bathroom one time, and he just like tried to rip up the floors. And he got really stressed by being left alone, and so I always think about like this poor dog. You know, my neighbor's dog is doing the same thing, so I always hear him yip, and I'm like, it's okay.
Just let me come over and help.
I know. It's like, you're all right, Xander. It's okay. Yeah.
That your neighbor comes home and you're just in their living room, just petting the dog, being like, shh, and they come in like, who are you? Shh, petting your dog.
Your dog was stressed, and I broke in. This needed to happen, okay?
Sorry. It needed help.
It needed help, and I found a way in.
Sonya's cat, Hermione, likes to fuck with her. She has a rabbit and a guinea pig, and the guinea pig cage is slightly smaller than the rabbit's cage, and it's on top of it. So the cat will, at her leisure, come over and fuck with the rabbit through the cage, and then she'll get on top of the rabbit's cage and fuck with the guinea pig.
Oh, cats are little shits.
And for the longest time, whenever we first got the cat, she first started doing this, you know, the rabbit just kind of chilled in the back because Stash is he's like a really chill rabbit unless you try to pick him up.
Stash?
Yeah, because he has a black mark on his upper, like right below his nose.
That's cute.
Kind of like mustache.
That's pretty cute.
But yeah, so he just chilled in the back of the cage and just waited out because he doesn't give a shit.
Nice.
He's not too bad.
Yeah.
And then she'd leave him alone, get on top, bug Greta. And Greta's a fucking guinea pig, so she freaks out at the slightest fucking noise.
Yep.
And then there's like this clawed beast trying to murder her.
It's like, what's going on?
Yeah. So she's like flipping around the cage and making noise. And I think Stash finally got tired of all of the like hubbub from above him. So now, whenever the cat gets on top of his cage to fuck with Greta, he waits for her tail to just lazily drift down in between his cage, and he jumps up and bites it.
That's fantastic. That's great. Well, you know what?
It's nature.
Yeah.
You know what? Cats gotta learn.
Exactly. She's gotta stop fucking with people.
Yeah. That
or you
happens.
get fucked with back.
Yeah.
You're a bitch cat anyway.
Oh, that age. I don't know what it is. Like, she's what, like, how many weeks old?
She's not even... Well, we got her...
She's like...
It was when it was cold. I think we got her in December or January. And she was like new fucking born.
So she was a newborn. Yeah, so I would say she's probably like 4 months old?
Roughly.
5 months old?
Yeah. Some of that.
Well, that's about the age where they get into that like little bitey.
Yeah, they get real frisky.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember my friend George from Moon City Improv. His wife has a cat named Abby the Tabby. And she was like 12 weeks old, and her thing when I first met her was to cling onto your arm.
Yep.
And bite you, and when you try to pull away, she sinks her claws into you as well. So you're just like,
this hurts. You're smashing her into a doorway, trying to get her to relinquish.
For me, like, I think I threw her on accident. I was just like, get off me! And I was like, I'm so sorry I threw your cat. I'm so sorry.
But seriously, look at my arm.
Yeah. And they were like, it's okay. And she was fine. She like landed on the couch, just a little bit further away from me, but I was still like, what the hell?
Come on, cat.
My dad used to have a cat named Chester, who was just kind of an orange tabby little guy. I actually named him. I was like 7 or something. I named him Chester.
It's a great name for a cat.
And he was friendly, but also not.
Yeah. Nope, that sums up a cat right there.
Friendly on his
he
terms.
could be really nice, but then he would just be like tired of you like in an instant. So one day I was like holding him, and then he decided he was sick of that, and he just bit my ear.
Oh my god!
And so I let go of him, and he just hung there for like a few seconds.
And you're like, ah!
It didn't even hurt that much because he just had like cartilage. But
Oh,
it's just
Still.
like, there's just a cat hanging from my ear.
No, cats. They're very interesting. Like my cat.
Monsters.
I love them.
They are monsters. I have a cat now at my apartment named Bibo, and she was my cat.
It's a great cat name too.
My mom named her that. That was my mom's. Yeah, my mom's doing. Go mom. Yeah.
Shout out to
Shout out to my mom. Yeah, she named her Bibo, and we met Bibo about it was like 6 years ago now. She was feral, and as was her mother. Her mother was feral too. Her mother still does live outside. But Bibo, we took her in about 4 years ago, a little over 3 years ago, and Bibo is like the neediest cat I've ever encountered. Like I'll be on my phone, and of course she'll do that typical cat thing where it's like, I don't understand what you're doing, and I'm going to walk in front of this. She'll like rub up on my phone,
yeah,
and then I'm like,
and make it do shit.
Yeah, and I'm like, stop it, or she'll just be like trying to climb on my lap while I'm like on the toilet, and I'm like, stop. It's like,
you're like, cat,
leave me alone.
Throw you out of here.
I know. Or it's like where she'll just like sit by my head and purr and then just like rub up on my head, and I'm like, knock it off. You are so needy. Like she's very, very needy, and most of the time I don't mind it, but it's just sometimes I'm just like, you're trying too hard. Stop it. And I learned recently, I've grown up with cats. Whenever I've had a cat, every cat I've ever had, that you can give them like a big thing of food and they'll eat at their leisure and go do their thing. Bibo, she won't do that. So if I give her a big thing of food, she'll eat all of it and then throw up everywhere.
Oh, god damn it.
You have to control her food.
Yeah, I do. And I'm like, well, and so but of course I found this out after she's like thrown up on my bed twice and on my clothes. And I'm just like, god damn it. And, so I'm like, I have to like monitor her food and just be like, okay, here you go.
Super obnoxious. Yeah, I've had cats like that before.
Yeah.
I also love how cats have no respect for bathroom privacy.
Or
pets in general, because I know dogs that are the same way. But,
yeah, and dogs are like, hi.
You get the cold nose in the butt when you're peeing.
I had a cat growing up named Samantha who...
Samantha. I like your pet names.
Thank you. I named that one as well.
I like the use of human names for the pets.
Yeah. No, I like to relate to them on a human level. No, I have always wanted to get a rabbit and name it Captain Motherfucker.
Do it!
Call him Cap.
Yeah.
Captain.
Well, exactly. In proper company, I just call him the captain. You know?
Yeah. This is the captain.
But anyway, Samantha, the door at my mom's place, the bathroom door doesn't really shut all the way, as in like you can just push it open if you give it enough.
Yep.
So every morning for like the last 5 years I was going to school up in Kansas City, I would go take a shower, and without pause, like within 2 minutes of me going into the bathroom,
Pause.
She would push open the door, hop up on the toilet, and watch me shower. And it's like, it's weird for like the first couple weeks, you're just like, leave, but after a while it's just like, well, there she is again, just sitting
up,
there
cat?
watching me.
Yeah.
Like,
Cats are funny.
seen me naked more than any human woman.
Oh my god. Go ahead, you had one.
Oh no, it's just funny that you were saying the captain, because Jeff Jenkins from the Skinny Improv, he has a dog whose name is General Stonewall Jackson, and so he calls him the General, and it's great.
I also love the idea of naming your pets after famous historical people.
Yeah, and it's great because like every time he brings General, because Jeff lives upstairs from the Skinny, he'll bring the General, and the General will come over and he's like waggling his tail, and he's all like happy. He's like a yellow lab, and so let's go. It's just like the name is so not appropriate for the yellow lab, but it's still really great.
One of the worst experiences with a cat I ever had was with, shockingly enough, Hermione, one of the mornings when we had her, it was like a month after we had gotten her. So she was getting old enough and not sick enough by that point. Because when we got her, she had a super bad feline respiratory problem. Like, eyes are super goopy, couldn't breathe worth a dick. So we just kept her in the bathroom. We turned the shower on hot like every hour to get her to like clear up her shit. Anyway, so she was all better, and she was getting a little bit bigger. Big enough to jump. Not quite make it to the sink, but she could still hop. And it was the morning, and I went to the bathroom, and it was just Sonia and I in the house because it was the weekend. And so I was just wearing a pair of boxers and left the door open. And I'm peeing, and I'm half asleep. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, claws dig into the back of my upper thigh, and she just drags all the way down. Like a good 4 inches. And I've never peed as high on a wall as I have at that moment. It was amazing.
Oh my gosh. No, cats...
Bad news and worse news. Bad news is I peed all over your bathroom. Worse news is I had to kill your cat.
She didn't understand either that, like, whenever someone yells in pain, she doesn't have that knee-jerk reaction the cats have to run away. Yep. She just, like, she let go and then just stood there and looked up at me. It was just waiting.
Is that a proud scream? Did I do good?
Yeah, that does remind me when my mom took Bebo in, because, you know, like I said, Bebo was feral. It was like December of 2010. My mom was like, let's bring the cat in. I'm like, okay.
Whatever.
You know, because my mom always thought that Bebo was a house cat that really wanted to be, like a feral cat that wanted to be a house cat.
Yeah.
So she brought her in, and Bebo had this... it was a transition. Like, I remember climbing the walls of our, my mom's room. She kept her confined to my mom, her room.
For the walk.
Yeah, so she would climb the walls. She wrecked the blinds, of course. And there was like this one time where the closet door was open, kind of a little bit. And my mom walks into her room, and there's Bebo, like, clinging to the closet door. Yeah, and she's, like, stuck, though. She can't get down. So my mom's just like... Well, my mom says... My mom's a big fan of, like, talking to animals, like, as if they're humans, just being like, let's be rational about this.
Come on.
Yeah, so she was like, just
we need to have a talk.
Yeah, she was like, just let go, just drop. And then Bebo did, and it was just thunk. But the best story was when my mom was a light sleeper. I think she probably still is. And Bebo didn't understand people being horizontal when they sleep.
Yeah. And
my mom also, at the time, had sleep apnea. So she would snore, and so Bebo was like,
"What the fuck is this noise?
Yeah.
What are you doing?"
Yeah, so there was one time that my mom was rudely awakened because Bebo had leapt onto her stomach and woke her up. And then there was another time where she just like barely touched her lightly with her nose, and my mom was like,
"Oh God,
right, what just happened?" But she was like, but the reactions were so big that Bebo knew not to do that again. So she wouldn't attack her, but she just didn't understand being horizontal at all. She was like, "What is this?" Yeah.
That Hermione does the same thing to me because she won't do it to Sonya because when she does it to Sonya, Sonya picks her up and just throws her off the bed like a good 3 or 4 feet just onto the floor. But she'll come over whenever I'm asleep, and it doesn't happen until like 30 minutes before my alarm goes off. And I guess maybe I snore, maybe she just... I have morning breaths, or maybe she's just like, oh, stinky things. Whatever.
Who knows?
But she gets up in my face after she's been lying between our heads for like 4 hours.
Yep.
And she gets up, comes over, and she gets about 3 inches away, which is just long enough, or just far enough for her whiskers to barely touch my face.
God.
And I wake up and I'm like, and I try to go back to sleep. 30 seconds later, touches again, and just get off. And then eventually she does it again, and I open my eyes, and as soon as I open my eyes, I think she's like, oh, he's awake. And she gets up, and she like starts rubbing her head on my face. And I'm like, cat, I'm trying to sleep.
No cat.
Yep. Yeah. Cats. Cats are funny, because Bebo's mom, Luna, she's still an outdoor cat, like I'd said before.
Love good.
Yeah, Luna Lovegood, I guess so.
Okay.
I named her Luna, but apparently that's a very common name for a cat, from what I understand. But Luna is the polar opposite of Bebo. The only thing that, like, if you saw both of them, you would see that their eyes are the same color. Yeah. And that's the only, like, you could tell that they're related. And Luna, she doesn't meow, hardly ever. There was one time where she did meow. Like, the first time she ever meowed was, like, maybe... a good 6 months after we found her, because what happened was they started living nearby our house because Luna had her first litter, which had Bebo, and nearby our house, and I think Bebo is the only surviving one from the litter. I think all the other siblings died off.
Yeah.
I know one at least got hit by a car because I saw it. And I was like, that sucks.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I know. And then what happened was what really, I guess, forged our friendship with Luna and Bebo was that Luna had another litter of kittens. And we took those kittens and we're like, we're not letting this happen. Just gave them to the Humane Society because we didn't want more kittens. And then we fixed Luna and Bebo.
Yeah.
And that was a wonderfully traumatic experience. But also it was interesting because St. Louis, they have that whole, you can bring in a stray cat as long as it's in a carrier.
Yeah.
$35. Because we didn't know the time we were going to keep them. Or keep Bebo at the very least. And what they do is they notch the ears.
Yeah.
They'll either notch or crop them. And I think in Bebo's case, like if you ever see a picture of Bebo, one of her ears is actually like severely shorter than the other because they must have like really hacked it. Yeah. I don't know what happened, but we were just like, oh, what happened to her ear? Oh, no. Yeah. But Luna, it's like she's the polar opposite. She always likes to live outside. With Bebo, when we showed her the litter box, she knew immediately how to use it. It was just so weird. Like I'm like, you're a wild cat. How have you learned how to use a litter box? But she knew it. My mom was like, here's the litter, here's the box, because she knew it with our old cat Pookie, because I guess Pookie lived outside too, and Pookie was like, fuck this, show me a litter box. Yeah. But Bebo knew it immediately too, but Luna still had
no idea.
She still had struggles. Like she would occasionally do it, but then she would still poop on the floor, but then she wouldn't do it. And
she'd do it half in the box, half on the floor, right next to the box.
Or she'll poop right by the box. Like she did that one time too. Mom's like, why did she do that? And I'm like, I don't know.
She's a bitch cat, that's why.
Yeah, and then, but yeah, the first time she meowed was about like 6 months after I guess we became friends with her, and it was snowing. It was like good 6 inches of snow. Yeah. And Luna finally does this like, because her I guess her purr box was so so
from not
raspy.
using it,
right? So we were like, I'm like, I think she just meowed. And my mom's like, no,
no fucking.
And then she did, and it was like a again. Yeah. It was this weird kind of like raspy meow, and it was that like, fuck, I'm cold. Yeah, let me in. I want to be inside. Yeah, I
feel the warmth literally like 2 inches away.
She did find a way like into which. You know, my mom should probably close off the vent. But there was this, like, way to get into the air ducts that Luna found a way in. So she would, like, we would hear this thunk, 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 thunk.
Like, cats in the fucking vents again.
Yep. Yeah. We would hear that. It's just like, cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
She's not dead. Awesome.
No. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Cats are fun. They're weird, but they're fun. I think cats are aliens sometimes. Yeah. A little bit.
I can see that.
Because they're just so weird sometimes.
They probably think the same thing about us.
Probably.
I mean, from what I understand, they just think that we're big cats.
Yeah,
that's true. Why they bring you shit, because they think you're a terrible hunter.
Yeah.
Like dead birds.
Here you go. Animals. Clearly you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm helping
I've never seen you bring a bird home.
So here, you're welcome.
I'm helping you. Fuck off, cat.
Yeah. It always amazes me, like, how long cats can live. Like, my cat Pookie, my cat I had since I was, like, I think even when I was a baby, I think she was my mom's cat. And then she passed away when I was 15. So she was like 20, 19, Damn. 20. Yeah, she was an old cat. And of course, by the end, she was really frail and she had like broken teeth and slobbered all the time. Like, there was that thing that sometimes cats do where they're like, you're loving them and you're patting them and they start drooling on you and you're just like, oh,
that's like
this
gross.
is cute. My roommate's cat would do that too, Sid. She would.
Never had a cat drool on me, I don't think.
It's very weird because you're just like,
stop it.
This is cold and wet. Yeah, my roommate's cat Sid would do it. And she also did that weird like marching thing that cats do. That like kneading.
Making biscuits.
Making biscuits, yeah, or making muffins. I've heard that too. Yeah. But she would do it and she like keeps this like creepy eye contact with you. Like,
do you like this?
Does this please you?
I know. Yeah. That's what Sid does. And I'm just like, and I just remember like she would just do this.
Yeah, just
this whole time. I'm just like, oh my god.
Making biscuits is arguably my favorite thing that cats do. It's so precious. It's like, I don't know why you're doing that, but it's amusing.
It's a kitten thing. It's when they were kittens, when they were nursing their mother, that's how they stimulate more milk.
Yeah. Oh, so they're just...
So they're hoping to stimulate more milk with
whatever they're doing that on, they're just trying...
Yeah. No, it is a super cute thing, but it's like, there are, I guess, some elements where it is creepy.
Yeah, no, definitely. It can be perceived as creepy, certainly.
Especially when they're keeping great eye contact with you. Yeah, take it. Take it.
The worst part is when cats mistake body parts for other things.
Oh, it's cute.
Like, for example, if you're sleeping without a shirt and the blanket is pulled down, the cat will come up and be like, what's this nipple thing? And they'll sniff it and it won't wake you up. And then they'll like paw at it and it won't wake you up. And then they'll bite it and that's what wakes you up.
So many times this has happened to you.
Like 3 times.
I was going to say, because this has never happened with me.
She still doesn't understand what a nipple is. And that she's not supposed to bite it.
This has not happened to me.
That's so funny.
It's the goddamn worst.
I like how cats in a weird sense are like babies where they put things in their mouth and they bite the shit out of it to see the reaction. Because I remember with Pookie and my mom had a very love-hate relationship. Extremely love-hate. Yep. Like, it would be... I would be, like, in my room, and my mom would be in her room doing, on the computer, mom things. And,
crocheting.
Yeah, and it would be the summer, because it was always the summer when this happened. And all of a sudden, I would just hear this, son of a bitch! And she tried to stomp. Because what would happen is, Pookie would sit on my mom's feet in the dead summer, which would make my mom's feet really hot. And then Pookie would wrap herself around my mom's feet. Oh, God. Yeah, it was very, like, slow.
Progressive.
And then she would bite him. And that's when my mom would go, son of a bitch. She gets so pissed. And I would just go, Pookie, attack your feet again? She's like, yeah. It was just this, like, sense of ire. And then Pookie would go, shit. And then she'd run away. Because she knew she went too far.
It's a weird game that she's playing.
Right.
See how far I can go before she kicks me off of her.
Right. That was pretty much it. So we are coming to the end of episode 7 of 9 Time with Tess Devine. I'm going to quickly promote some things that are happening this weekend for me. This coming weekend on Friday, I'm going to be going to the Beale Street Music Festival in Memphis, Tennessee. Ooh, and there are a lot of bands that are going to be performing. Foster the People is one of them. Apparently Kid Rock is going to be there too.
Because of reasons.
Yeah.
Gotta see that.
Yeah. But a lot of bands I'm going to go see, like there's Beats Antique. They're going to be performing. I don't know if you don't know them, check them out.
They have antique beats.
Well, it's pretty good. They actually recently just came to the Galois. I didn't check them out, but because I had seen that, like, hey, they're here in Springfield and they're going to be at Beale Street, I might as well see what the fuss is about. And they're pretty good. They're like electronic world beats. It's like taking cool music from like India, Middle East, and then kind of blending it with electronics. So that's kind of cool.
Snoop Dogg.
So it's like shit you'd find in a Middle Eastern club.
Yeah, you could argue that. Yeah. Snoop Dogg, and I like it because on the schedule it says Snoop Dogg, aka Snoop Lion, will be performing. The best comment I recently heard from my mother when I came home for Easter was, my mom expressed interest in seeing Juicy J. So she, I loved that. I was like,
why?
She wants to.
Does she just like that Katy Perry song?
I know, that's the thing.
Okay.
She doesn't like Dark Horse. So I'm like, why? But okay, we'll do this.
Whatever,
sure.
I guess.
Yeah. And so there's that. And there's also a band I want to see called the Carolina Chocolate Drops. They are a bluegrass band, and they kind of got my attention by I think there was some article, I think, on NPR. They did a cover of Blue Cantrell's Hit 'Em Up Style. Have you ever heard that song? Mm-hmm. Yeah. They did a cover of that. It was, of course, instrumental. They didn't do any I don't think they did any vocals, but they're a really good bluegrass band, and they're even more folk than bluegrass, but that's their genre that they're listed under. Yeah. And of course, there are a plethora of other blues musicians that I think Jerry Lee Lewis will be performing as well, who I think is very cool. Patti LaBelle, I think, will be performing as well too. So
confirmed on both.
Yeah.
Also Joan Jett.
Joan Jett, that's right. Joan
Holy
Jett.
Shit.
Yeah, Joan Jett will be performing, and there was one other.
And Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yes.
Fuck, why am I not going?
I don't know.
I love Bone Thugs. God.
Yeah, I don't know why you're not going.
But not Harmony.
They seem sort of out of place in that lineup.
Fits and Tantrums will be there as well.
Yeah.
And so I'm stoked. I went last year. I loved it. It was a blast. I had so much fun. The only regret I had was not getting rain boots last year.
Because it was rainy?
Because it was muddy as hell.
I've been there.
Oh my god, it was so muddy. Yeah, it was very muddy because it had rained, so I don't know if it's going to be muddy this year or not, so I'm going to try to get mud, galoshes just in case.
Yeah,
that you will probably lose in the mud, probably.
Probably, and the way I see it is, whatever.
Yeah.
Que sera. That's life. Life is mud. Yeah, so that's this weekend, and of course, in May, I will also be performing in Betty and the Baldwin, and eventually on May 16th, that's the tentative schedule, tentative date, I should say, I'm going to finally perform in Moon City Improv for the very first time. As of now, I have not performed in Moon City Improv. Yes.
Is it going to be the all ages show or is it going to be the filthy show?
Honestly, I'm hoping both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's good.
And yeah.
Hoping to be filthy for all ages.
Ah, exquisite.
Yeah. I'll make it happen for either one.
Something will happen and I'll break the rules.
Right. And Jake, I know you're going to somewhere.
I am.
You're going to somewhere.
I'm going to Microfest in St. Louis this weekend.
That's cool.
With my lady and Mitch from Work in Progress.
Yes.
Because it's his birthday and I got him a ticket as a birthday present.
Very nice.
And it's awesome because they have like over 100 different brew companies there just giving away literally free beer.
Cool.
They give you like a sampling glass that's like 6 ounces and they're supposed to, it's supposed to be a little bit of beer whenever you sample it. They don't give a fuck. They fill like the whole fucking thing up. And you're just sloshed in like 10 minutes because you just go to these fucking booths and they're like, what do you want? And you're like, you have that one? And they're like, yep, here you go.
Cool.
Toss it back, move on to the next one.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. And also, you just reminded me too, because I don't know how, but you did.
Reasons.
On May 11th, Moon City Improv got a table at TrekCon.
Shit.
Yes. And it looks like I'm the only one who will be able to man this table.
Man the booth.
Man the table, yeah. And so I'm gonna be there on May 11th, and it's gonna be at the Springfield Expo Center, which is on St. Louis Street. I think it's not too far from. It's like right next to the Shrine Mosque, I believe.
Yeah, it's the big building with the glass front.
Yeah, big building with a glass front. And
I guarantee everyone's driven past and been like, what the fuck is this building?
Yeah,
that's the building.
That's the building.
Yeah.
So on May 11th, Moon City Improv is going to have a table there. So if you are in the area on May 11th, you should come and you should say hi to me. And I will be the kid. I'll be the girl in the Moon City Improv shirt. So
the only one.
The only one as of right now. I don't know who else will be joining, but hopefully not just me. So
that's fair.
All right. Well, this has been episode 7 of Nighttime with Tess Devine. I want to thank Jake and Andrew for being here. And I want to thank you, listeners, for listening. So thank you. Stay tuned. Next episode.